Here are the suggestions. Take a cue from the TV show Ellen. Start a rumor that in the last presidential press conference of the season, my character will become a libertarian. Announce that we discovered signs of life on Mars. We already tried that. And some of you bought it. I couldn't believe it. Announce that I will fight Evander Holyfield. Anytime, any place. Here's the vice president's suggestion. Sign an executive order hiring people on welfare to install computers in our nation's classrooms, to email messages to neighborhood watch volunteers, to use their cell phones to call 100,000 community police officers, to remind the 1 million literacy tutors to show up for work. If all else fails, push myself down a flight of stairs. As you know, that's the one we decided to go with. It worked for a while, and I'd do it again. I may have to. Thank you very much, Mike. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll be pleased to learn that former President Bush has just successfully jumped the Snake River Canyon on a rocket-powered motorcycle. Now he's just taunting me. You know, one of the results of being bummed up for a while is that I've gotten to watch a lot more television than normal, and I spent a day in the hospital just sort of channel flipping, surfing, that's what you call it now. And I was amazed at the way all these different channels struggle to accurately but uniquely cover my surgery. C-SPAN, of course, provided live, uninterrupted coverage of my injured knee, while C-SPAN 2 devoted full coverage to my other knee. Within an hour of the accident, CNN had composed ominous theme music and put up a graphic, breaking news, breaking knee. I knew it was going to be a major story when their headline news devoted a full 5 seconds to it. MSNBC immediately proclaimed itself the state-of-the-art global interactive command center for all leg-related news.
For explorers at heart, Tractive GPS and health trackers are...
ESPN broke into the North Carolina-Colorado basketball game with a breathless bulletin that Greg Norman was just fine. PBS kept interrupting coverage of my knee for pledge drives. For every $100 donation, you got a commemorative x-ray of my leg. Bob Novak went on Crossfire to argue the positive aspects of debilitating knee injuries for Democrats. And then there was MTV. All they wanted to know was, did I wear a hospital gown or pajamas? Thank you, Mike. Ladies and gentlemen, President Bush has just had himself manacled, placed inside a padlocked trunk, and submerged off the coast of Kennebunkport. The clock is ticking. Our prayers are with him. Anyway, I'm back on my feet, and I'm working for the American people. Congress is back in session this week. That came as a surprise to people in Washington who didn't know it was away. Things have been so slow this year, C-SPAN's actually showing reruns of the 104th Congress. And we can't get agreement to change the consumer price index. That's the hang-up on this whole budget deal. And there are Democrats and Republicans in the House. They're scared to death of it. But, you know, a small change in the CPI could shave billions of dollars from the deficit, add years and years to the life of the Social Security Trust Fund. Now, I know this is a complicated issue for some people, and I've been looking for some simple way to explain it. And so consider how we might reindex some other statistics. For example, a report said last month that we Americans are the heaviest people in the world. Working together, reaching across party lines, we can change all that. Instead of 16 ounces to a pound, we'll say there's 20. That way, a person who weighs 260 pounds would weigh 160. 200 pounds would weigh 160. Think about it. Overnight, Democrats and Republicans can make America the thinnest nation in the world. Let me tell you, I'm doing the best I can, but actually I'm kind of hurting. The worst thing about this injury is it's hard to stand for long periods of time. And about this time I start to get tired. So I'm going to sort of sit down with a confession. When I signed that executive order banning cloning research, it was too late to do anything about an experiment or two that had already been started. But one of them has come in handy in moments like this. Bill, would you mind?
Mr. President, have a seat. By the way, I'd appreciate it if you'd refer to me as Mr. President. I think you've earned it. Mr. President, members of the House and Senate, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I'm also Bill Clinton. Typically, when I come in to mop up at the end of an event like this, I'll just finish reading from some prepared text and say things like, "We must find common ground. We're going to build a bridge to the 21st century. I'll have to refer you to Lanny Davis on that one. Yada, yada, yada."
Mr. President, Mr. President.
This is odd. Evidently, George Bush has successfully escaped and has been spotted swimming toward the coast of Maine. What the hell does that mean? Well, where was I? Oh, yeah. You know what I would like to tell you all about tonight? How much
Open a Chime checking account in 2 minutes, and we'll spot you up.
How much I hate waiting around to see if I'm going to pinch hit for him today. It's demeaning. It's dehumanizing. I don't know how Al Gore's put up with it all these years. I shouldn't complain. I mean, if you're going to be a clone, you're not going to do a whole lot better than being a clone of the President of the United States. The key to being a clone is making sure you're the clone of somebody cool. Let's face it, this gig could be a whole lot worse. Imagine waking up and finding out you're a Bob Dornan clone. Sitting up all night counting votes. It is not for the squeamish. I did get some work done. I had a meeting with some members of Congress about some chemical weapons, some treaty type thing. Mr. President, remind me, are we for that or against it? For it. I'll tell you what, I do love that red phone. Oh, by the way, maybe you ought to be the one to call Yeltsin back and apologize. If I call him again, I'll just make it worse. I'll come back up here. Mr. President of the United States.
I have to take this over before it gets out of hand. God knows I can't afford to jeopardize my relationship with the press corps. But I want to thank you, Bill, or Mr. President. By the way, I wrote up a to-do list for you for the next couple of days. As usual, there's the morning jog. You have to do that now. Tomorrow at 3:30, I have a conflict. I have a root canal appointment and a press conference in the East Room. I know it's going to hurt, but would you mind doing the press conference? No, wait a minute. I couldn't ask anybody else to do that, even me. Actually, I enjoy these press conferences, and I enjoy coming here every year. I thank you all for what you've done to sustain our democracy for nearly 225 years. Our country is still a work in progress, and I look forward to building on that progress with you. I even look forward to these dinners, and I really wouldn't want to send anyone else in my place. So I want to thank all of you for having Hillary, me, and me here this evening. In closing, let me say, we must find common ground. We are going to build that bridge to the 21st century. I do have to refer you to Lanny Davis on that one. Yada, yada, yada. Good night, and thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm not really sure who to thank, but thanks Darrell Hammond from Saturday Night Live. And thank you again, Mr. President, for coming back. Continuing with this Saturday Night Live theme, our next speaker is currently in his 4th season on that show. He doesn't do an impression of the president, but he does a great impression of Bob Dole, Andy Rooney, and Charles Kuralt. Recently, he ranked number 2 on Rolling Stone's list of the 101 best things about watching television. And once a week, he gets a taste of our jobs when he anchors that program's Weekend Update. Please join me in welcoming Norm Macdonald.
All right. I won't be as funny as that last bit. Just so you know. Well, good evening, Mr. President. Mrs. First Lady, and the distinguished members of the Radio and Television Correspondents' Dinner, you know, when I accepted the honor of performing here tonight, one thought crossed my mind, and that was, please, God, don't let me bomb in front of the president. But I'm not worried. What the hell do I care? You know, I worked on all my jokes. I got a lot of help from my joke writer, Don Imus. He was helped me a lot. Are you familiar? You know this guy? He's a funny guy. He wrote some jokes. Anyways, the dinner was great. You enjoyed the dinner? We had some salmon. Yeah, it was delicious. It was great, and I thought it was refreshing to see Democrats
With Chevy Equinox EV,
serve something other than subpoenas for a change. I thought that was nice, you know? I'll be doing some jokes later. I just thought I'd... Oh. But you know, it is rather daunting to me. You know, I'm just a guy, you know? What the hell am I? And here I am, you know, I look out, I see President Bill Clinton, you know, I see Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, you know, media mogul Rupert Murdoch, you know, broadcast legend Larry King, you know, pornographer Larry Flint, you know, Dick Morris. The list is starting to drop off a little, folks, but still, you get the idea. It's daunting. And of course, it was very inspiring to see President Clinton up here on crutches making a speech. I mean, I thought that was just amazing, you know. I mean, it's been difficult for the president. You know, he can't jog now, and he needs help getting around, and he still occasionally suffers great pain, you know. On the upside, you got your medical marijuana, so that's, you know. You must inhale, sir. It's the only way you're going to get better. But it's odd. I mean, I think this is the first time that I can remember that we've had a president that is hobbled, you know, and it's tough on everybody. The Secret Service, it's not easy on the Secret Service. They have had to learn, you know, how to do this, and they've been specially trained on how to lift and carry President Clinton by top experts who've been doing this for a long time. Boris Yeltsin's Secret Service agents. They've stepped in to help, you know. Anyways, excuse me, I'm sorry, folks. Larry Flint and Dick Morris are giving some sort of hand signals to each other over there. I don't know what the hell that's all about, but it's kind of hard to concentrate. Larry Flint is here tonight. But also present this evening, Madeleine Albright, the Secretary of State. Ms. Albright's been very busy, you know. She just returned from Russia, where she, you know, applied for her? Yeah, Madeleine Albright. She's been very busy. She just went to Russia, where she met with Boris Yeltsin, you know, and they had some talk on NATO expansion. I guess they kind of had a tense meeting, you know. When Ms. Albright came back out, she said, for this I travel 5,000 miles to meet with some drunken Meshuggah? On my worst enemy, I wouldn't wish this. This is... She's changed, you know? That's what I find. She's... But of course, looking around the room, I also see many distinguished members of the Fourth Estate. I see Bryant Gumbel is here, and he just signed a multi-year contract, of course, with CBS. And, you know, he took some time off to be with his family after the Today Show, but Bryant in his heart, you know, is a newsman. And after a few weeks, he realized, you know, that he missed the excitement and thrill that you can only get by making millions and millions of dollars. So... And Dan Rather, of course, is here. He's a broadcast legend. I love Dan Rather. You know, I talked to him backstage, and it was a real thrill for me, you know, and he was so excited to be here, you know. I was backstage, and I've never seen him so excited. At one moment, I remember he broke into a huge frozen smile, and it was... There it is again, there it is, take a look. That's the huge frozen smile I'm talking about. But we got a lot of power here, a lot of juice. Mr. Rule Arledge is here, of course, the chairman of ABC News, you know, and a lot of crazy stories coming out of that division, you know. You know, stories about this person sleeping with that person and all that, you know. Scandal after scandal. And if you heard the latest, I heard this just the other day. There's a rumor that last week, a certain, I don't want to say who it is, a certain gentleman in ABC News, he went to a party and he got really drunk and he ended up having sex with his own wife. I don't know how these rumors get started, but you know, it's probably just a vicious rumor, really, you know. But as Mr. Arledge knows, of course, TV has become a very tough game. You got to stay competitive, you know. As we all know, ABC's Good Morning America is in a little turmoil, you know, a little trouble, a little rating trouble. And they're considering a lot of ways now, you know, to boost the ratings. And I don't know, I think they're getting a little desperate. I heard that next week Charles Gibson will announce he's a lesbian. I mean, is that going to help anything? Nobody wants to hear that. Martha Stewart is here, and she wanted me to tell you, don't let the busboys clear your table off tonight, because a little later Martha will come up here, and she's going to show us how to take those old discarded fish bones and make a beautiful birdhouse. So... That's nice.
Anti-fascism, anti-racism, all these great sounding...
I'm very nervous. I don't know why. Before I sip this coffee, actually, sir, how much is this? How much would a cup of coffee cost in a place like this?
Nothing for you.
Nothing, it's free? Okay, great. I didn't want to get, you know, I didn't want to see $90,000 on my bill later. I'm sorry. And of course, there are some important Washington figures who couldn't be here tonight. Vice President Al Gore is not here. Unfortunately, he broke down and they had to leave him in the shop overnight. But they say he'll be all right later. Something wrong with the voice box or something. I don't know what it was. House Speaker Newt Gingrich is not here. A little while back, of course, everybody knows that Newt pushed through a lot of budget cuts in the arts, particularly in PBS, you know, and the effects are being felt now. I can see it, even as a layman, you know, just watching. You know, the other day I watched that show, the Frugal Gourmet. It changed its name to the Cheap Bastard. I mean... It's crazy. And Senator Ted Kennedy couldn't be here. You know, there's a lot of jokes about Ted Kennedy, but I recently watched an interview. It was very touching, you know. Ted was talking about, or Mr. Kennedy, what the hell am I calling him Ted for? Senator Kennedy was talking about how he proposed to his lovely wife Vicki Reggie, and it was very touching. You know, it was a different side of Ted Kennedy you don't see. He was very old-fashioned and romantic. You know, when he made the proposal, it was very nice. He got up on one knee and he. It was nice, you know. You hear all the stories, but then you hear something like that, and you know, it makes you. I'm starting to relax now. You know, I think I'm relaxing a little. That's not just the booze talking. I think I really am relaxing. It's the Xanax, the Prozac, and the booze talking. But, no, I'm a little nervous, you know. I mean, who the hell am I? But it's been great to be in Washington, I can tell you that, man. Oh, my God, I had a lovely stay here so far. I've been sightseeing, you know, and in fact, I stopped at a museum. This is probably interesting to you guys. They have this news museum now. Have you seen this? It's a museum that's dedicated to broadcast journalism, and they have all sorts of, tributes to Edward R. Murrow and such, and they have this one fascinating place. It's a kind of an interactive display, and visitors, what they can do is they can appear on camera and pretend that they are real journalists, So far it's been visited 20 times by Matt Lauer, but I guess he's a legend too. I didn't know. You got Murrow, Severide, Edwards, and Lauer. All right. And also today I took a visit to the White House. For any of you who haven't taken a visit to the White House, unbelievable. So, awe-inspiring and, a lot of rich in history, so beautiful, Although I did notice a kind of an odd sign on the president's desk. It said, the yen stops here. Have you seen it? What the hell does that mean? The yen? I thought it was the buck stops here, I'd always heard. Of course, they say the White House is haunted. Did you know that? And I thought this was kind of sad. I heard last night that President Clinton charged Abraham Lincoln's ghost $10,000 to sleep in his own bed. So that doesn't seem right to me, I mean... But look, the president, has come under a lot of fire for raising money, but, he's good at raising money. That's not a bad thing. Every president's done it. It's just that President Clinton is very, very, very good at it. Do you know he has organized in the past year over 100 fundraising dinners and over 200 fundraising midnight snacks? Did you know that? Is he laughing? Is he... No, but Mr. President, seriously, I know you've had to work through a lot of distractions in doing the business of running this country, and I just want to say, that I implore you, stay focused and do the job, and try to remember, that Rome was not built in a day, I mean, just ask Strom Thurmond, he'll tell you. It was not built in a day. He's an old fella, folks. How would you not know that? I have an announcement to read. I almost forgot. I was told to make this announcement. Table 10, wherever you are, table 10. We're sorry your waitress hasn't been there in a while. Larry King just married her. So... I have to say, though, this is an incredible thing for me. I'm just a punk, and yet here I am, I can't believe I'm speaking in a room. I'm standing in a room here with the most powerful man in the country, Alan Greenspan, and it's a little amazing.
Dude, this thing is awesome.
Of course, that's the big story in here in Washington is the recent marriage between NBC's Andrea Mitchell and Alan Greenspan, who is 71 years old. And this is sweet, I didn't know this. They wrote their own vows, She promised to love, honor, and speak into his good ear. So that was kind of sweet, The newlyweds are going to spend their honeymoon in Mexico, and I thought this was sweet. As a gift to his new bride, Alan Greenspan just devalued the peso so that that'll be nice. So anyways, a little bit more of my coffee. Anyways. It just occurred to me, Mr. President, you are now handicapped, and you're the President of the United States. You must have an unbelievable parking spot, That's... That's got to be very close to the building, But you got to hand it to the president. His injury is not holding him back from doing the business of the nation. You know, in fact, he just nominated Major General Claudia Kennedy as the Army's first female 3-star general. And I think that's great, you know. She's doing a great job. Apparently, the only thing she's having trouble with is she's having difficulty figuring out how to sexually harass herself. She doesn't know how to... What's that? The guy yells my name for no reason. Oh, I have another announcement to make. Is that what you're telling me? That I should make this announcement? You're right. You make a good point with your incoherent gibberish. Here it is. Here's my other announcement. The U.S. State Department, folks, has just issued a travel warning for all women moving past Dick Morris's table. So... I don't know. Well, that's about it for me. I just want to... How about this Heaven Gates call? This is what everybody's talking about. It's unbelievable. And it really is a sad story, and it's hard to comprehend. I mean, think about it. Who in their right mind would believe that you get into a spaceship behind a comet by castrating yourself and committing suicide? I mean, other than Pierre Salinger, who on earth would believe... I just saw him out in the lobby with a pair of sneakers, Nike sneakers, and a big purple shroud, going, where are they? Did I miss it? Well, that's it for me, folks. I just want to say, you know, before I go, that it really has been a thrill for me. I joke around about the news, you know, but you people, you do the real thing, and you serve as our watchdogs, and you tell the real stories that come out of this city. And I, for one, you know, think you do a darn good job. And as a matter of fact, I have a message from someone who couldn't be here and wanted me to read it to you. This is from Senator Bob Dole. He wanted me to read this to you. Here it is. This is it. This is from Senator Bob Dole. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, to hell with all of you. You cost me the damn election. You can kiss my ass, every last one of you. Thank you, folks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Norm. I guess you can turn to the IMIS program tomorrow to see how you did.